Today we will be looking at a 1984 Mercedes, and this is 300 SD. It's a turbo diesel W126. The car has actually pretty low miles. It has, I think if I remember correctly, about 120,000 original miles. This was not one of our imports. It's a car that we actually just took as a trade-in. And the reason we have the car on the lift and showing it to you is because according to the Carfax report, most of its life this car spent in Pennsylvania, I believe, or maybe New Jersey. So obviously it's a northern car, and we want to make sure there is no rust situation on the vehicle. And I've already looked at it, as always, before shooting the video, and I must say, not only that the car looks very nice and doesn't really have any rust, but there are many indications of very good servicing. The tires are new. You can see the entire exhaust has been replaced. If you look here, the suspension components, these Bilstein shocks have been replaced, and they look relatively fresh. The front is the same. You can tell this rubber brake line was replaced, and it's a newer brake line. So anyways, starting from the rear of the car, there is no rust on any of the components. Everything looks good and everything looks original. We haven't cleaned anything, and we haven't covered anything either with any type of undercoat. So this is all original. And if you look at these springs, they do have some surface rust, which is normal for the car of this age. Same thing, if you look at some of these suspension components, there is some surface rust as well, but it's just surface. These components, they don't have any paint on them usually, and they don't have any rust protection. So seeing surface rust on these parts is not unusual. If you look at the rear diff, and again, you see that we didn't clean it. It's got a lot of buildup. I mean, it doesn't look like it was ever cleaned, but nothing really dripping from out of it. And to be honest with you, there is nothing leaking out of this car, period. Even engine, transmission, they all look very dry and very clean. So here we're going towards the front, and again, everything is original. Nothing's been replaced, and there is no rust on any of the components. The exhaust is new, and it is all the way up to there, so it goes new all the way to the manifolds, looks like it. So including all the downpipe, this is all brand new. Also here, these are some kind of dampeners or mounts for the subframe. These things are new, kind of large parts. So they are new on both, or newer on both sides of the car. And then again, if you go towards the front, you can see newer front shocks and flexible brake lines that have been replaced. This bolt over here is also newer, and I'm not sure, maybe that's an indication of radiator being replaced, although radiator doesn't look like it's a newer radiator. Over here you have, just like in the rear, you got surface rust on some of these nuts and bolts and little brackets. Like over here there is some rust, but just flaking. Really, it's not even rust, I guess just the paint flaking, but this is all solid, and I wouldn't really call it rust. If you look at the engine, again, some old grime and build-up here, but no leaks from anywhere, and the car actually runs very good. I must say that the customer who traded the car in drove it 900 miles to our dealership from Pennsylvania, and he does have some service records and some of the stuff that he did. I mean, everything really looks good on this car, and outside of some surface rust in a few places, it is really nice car. It doesn't look like a northern car at all. Here you got transmission, and that's dry as well. I mean, really, to be quite honest with you, no excuses, given that this is 1984. I can't really say anything about anything bad about this car. The body looks good too. Interior is super clean, but that's for another video. Overall, it's a very nice and very original car with very good service records. So here it is. If you have questions, give us a call.